We are on the morning break in the second day of questioning of the undercover police officer Robert Hastings, who, using the cover name Rob Harrison, infiltrated No Borders, State of Emergency, International Solidarity Movement, Rampart Social Centre, and deceived a woman we're calling Maya into a long-term intimate sexual relationship. He's being questioned about the sexual abuse that he committed against Maya this morning. It has been horrible. I'm joined by Kate Wilson of Police Spies Out Lives. What have you made of it?
Well, I mean, the first thing to say is that the inquiry started this morning's evidence with a trigger warning and providing information about available support services, which is certainly the first time I've noticed that happen, and I think sets the tone for the day. The other thing I would say, and I wasn't on your videos yesterday, but Rob Hastings is a pedantic and objectionable man before you even get to his treatment of women. Like he's just an incredibly irritating person to listen to. He repeatedly corrects the barrister, and I actually wonder whether the inquiry have him being questioned by a woman barrister rather than by David Barr in order to bring out this particularly objectionable side of his approach. But I
would just say that I was quite disappointed it wasn't David Barr originally. Now I think it is exactly the right person to be questioning him, because it is showing his deep misogyny.
Yes, and he answers stuff, and and he gives not very helpful answers. And she will then say, well, are you saying this? And he will just snap back saying, I'm saying, and repeat the answer that he's given, which is, I don't recall that happening or whatever. And she will say, well, is it something that, are you saying that's something that might have happened? Or are you saying that that's absolutely not? And he's saying, I'm saying that I can't recall that happening. And he does that a lot. And he's very, very irritating to listen to. And he is being questioned about the start of his relationship with Maya. I don't think we've got to the most disturbing stuff we're going to have to listen to at all. Yes, he like a lot of these officers, he's leaning very, very hard on the idea that this was a genuine relationship, that it comes across that he feels this was more her responsibility than his.
100%.
At the point where he was asked whether he could and indeed should have not engaged in the sexual relationship, his response was, well, she could have not engaged as well. And it's like,
she could have said no.
She could have said no. And it's like, yes, but she had no reason to say no. But you had very, very good reason to say no. You were married, you had children, and you were a serving police officer. But also, there's no recognition of that.
Not at all. There was one point where he was asked, it was put to him that he had more power over her because of his, in fact, he was about 10 years older, that he, was the serving police officer, all these things. He said, well, power ebbs and flows. She had more power over me by the end of the relationship.
Which I think, my sense is that we're going to get to a point where he essentially pleads mental illness in order to excuse whatever horrific things he's done. And I mean, there's just constant intimations of this, starting with the trigger warning this morning, the ways that he referred to his family yesterday as his ex-family, and the point that his partner at the time would be very, very unhappy to be associated with him now. Yes, I don't know. I don't know what's coming, but I'm not looking forward to it.
So there's been a few things about, for example, he says he doesn't remember ever using contraception with Maya. He said that was no risk at all to that because he's had a vasectomy. It was then pointed out that, he talked at length with her about having children. He said, we both created a fantasy world.
Yes, I mean, he seems to be the kind of archetypal proof of Charlotte Kilroy's premise that giving these men this alter ego,
dark playground,
sending them out into a dark playground creates monsters, and he quite clearly was a monster.
Yes, very much.
And is, because he... So, I mean, one of the interesting things about this morning is he was asked whether he should have not slept with Maya. The other thing that he came out with was, I am very aware of the moral and ethical implications and failings in what I did. And she was like, well, that's not an answer to the question, should you not have slept with Maya? And he replied pedantically, I am very aware of the moral. And she's like, well, is that one of them? And then he kind of said, well, yes, I guess that is one of them. But he quite clearly is not
at all
aware of so many of the issues around what he did, and his descriptions of the relationship with Maya, his apportioning of blame, his total lack of contrition. It's interesting because he's not even consistent or coherent in what he's saying himself. He flips between, this was a genuine relationship and this was a fantasy that I created.
We created together.
Or we created together.
Supposedly.
I
Disgusting.
countenance that,
yeah.
frankly.
And I mean, one of the other contradictions is this thing about like the supposed power that she had over him later on was that she was worried that she was pregnant, and he was like, oh, she's holding it over me that she might be pregnant. If he'd had a vasectomy, then there's no power there.
Yes, I mean the whole thing. I mean, yeah, like it's just. All of the officers have done versions of this, but it sort of feels like he's pulling out all the stops, whether or not they're contradictory.
Yes.
So it was a genuine relationship. I lost myself in my character. It was her fault. She asked for it. She was a legitimate target of the operation. She was not an activist and had nothing to do with it, so it didn't matter that I slept with her. He's kind of saying all of those things.
He's also said that he was in love with her. It was he never met anybody like her. It was really significant, but he can't remember anything about it. He can't remember any details.
Except, despite the fact that he claims he was not jealous and he wouldn't have minded her sleeping with anybody else, the one thing that he very clearly remembers about it is the suggestion that there might have been some kind of sexual tension between her and Atif Chowdhury.
Yes.
He remembers that very clearly indeed.
Very clearly. He also remembers the fact that he did kiss another woman and that there was some other sexual activity which wasn't intercourse, and there was another woman he had sexual tension with. The details of it, he remembers particular conversations, all sorts of minor details about it, very specific. But these were not big deal things, whereas this deep love affair, supposedly, he remembers nothing.
He remembers very little at all. I mean, it's obviously bad, obviously nonsense.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just touched now on his racialization of both Maya and women in general, and there has been a suggestion that we might be looking at some of the stuff that he posted on Urban 75. You could see the realization that of course those posts all still exist. So he was asked whether he would have said those kind of things. He said no. He was then asked whether he would have posted those kind of things on Urban 75. He started to say no, and then he kind of backpedaled and said, obviously, if those posts exist, then they have to be read in the context of my Rob Harrison persona. I've read a lot of his posts on Urban 75, and I can say that they display some, first of all, utter desperation. The sexual desperation in those posts, but also racialized comments about women, a lot of comments about the appearance of black female musicians, for example, and references to his own sexual preference for women of color. And those are things that, having been part of the movements that he was involved in at the time, would never ever have endeared him to the people around him. As a legend building strategy. Posting online that you're not getting enough blowjobs is not something that is going to. It's just.
It's a ridiculous suggestion by him. Utterly ridiculous suggestion, and he's so fucking gross, man. He's so fucking gross. It's so horrible.
Really is. He really, really is.
And he's so angry. He's so fucking angry.
He is. He. I mean, I'm kind of waiting for him to lose it. And I have to say, the public gallery yesterday there were quite a lot of snorts.
Yes,
and
sharp intakes of breath.
Sharp intakes of breath in the public gallery. The public gallery is being very, very restrained today. Meeting has asked the public gallery to be very restrained today because of the subject matter that's being talked about. But I am waiting for him to lose it.
Yeah,
like
me too.
there's a real sense that he is on the edge of just losing his shit and starting to shout.
Yeah. Which is something we saw bits of with Jim Boyling, but this feels like another level.
Yes.
It should also be remarked that Maya is in the public gallery.
Yes.
She is hearing all this. Love and solidarity to her.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, the maliciousness of some of the things that he said, particularly kind of throwing stuff out about kind of the friendship between Atif and Maya, and I was very relieved to see Atif and Maya look at each other and smile when he said that. And it's like, he's not succeeding in, but you have a sense that nasty, jealous, manipulative man who had the relationship with Maya is still there and is sitting on the witness stand and is actually still throwing barbs.
Yes, 100%.
So yes, all power to Maya.
We're only on a short break. We'll be going back in fairly soon. There will be more of this. It's going to get worse. I mean, just based on what we heard from Maya last week, there is so much worse to come. It's going to be really, really horrible. It's totally. If people don't want, you can watch it. It's all being brought. The link is in the description of this video. You can watch, almost live. I can understand if you wouldn't want to. It's absolutely horrific. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think.
Yeah.
We'll there's more to come.
There's a lot more to come. Thanks for joining us.